This episode is supported by MonsterJoysticks.com. Level up your Raspberry Pi with our all-in-one arcade kit using genuine Sanwa arcade parts. And OneClickPrint.com for your photos on canvas, acrylic, gifts and more. Local craftsmen and global delivery.
Our guest today describes himself as a backyard engineer who makes the sound of a chewed-up VHS tape, making music with flame-throwing organs and circuit-bending electronic Bibles. Sam Battle will stop at nothing to get the sound he wants for his music, and quite often it involves the kind of retro that we really like on this channel, things like the Commodore PET and the Sega Master System in new and inventive ways. Here to tell us about his history, his rise to YouTube stardom, and his unbelievably cool creations from the channel Look Mum No Computer, welcome Sam.
Hello, how's it going? How are you doing, man?
I'm great. How are you, Sam?
Yeah, not bad. I mean, like when you asked to do this, I'm already a subscriber to your channel and already a fan and a regular watcher. So
it did make my day when I had a little pop up to say that you'd subscribed, because it shows you when people subscribe, it puts them in order of how big their channel is. So of course, really? You went to the top of the list, having the huge channel that you do. I'm like, oh, that's really
cool. Oh, nice.
So you build a wide range of instruments which incorporate some of our favourites, Game Boys, Mega Drives, Commodore 64s. Did you have any of these systems growing up?
That's a very good question. I can't remember now. I had a Game Boy. I got it from my cousin when she was bored of it. I sold it after a while at a car boot sale, and then she asked for it back. So but I had the Game Boy. I had a Windows 95 computer and a PlayStation 1, but I didn't have anything else. I never had a Furby or anything like that. And I guess the reason why I still had some mystique about these Furbies and these machines, everybody at the playground and stuff saying, oh, they're amazing, they're magical and stuff. It's because I never really experienced them, I guess. So I never really experienced a Furby. And I bought my first Furby when I was like 20 probably, and and I realized they were pretty rubbish, but I had so much endearment towards them that it didn't really matter.
If you buy enough of them, you can make them do something.
Yeah.
So you mentioned you had a Windows 95 machine there. Did you realize then at that point that you could start making music on that machine, or were you always working with the synths away from the computer sequencing and stuff?
To be honest, I never really up until about, I think I was maybe, up until, 1920, I didn't know what a synthesizer was. I thought, I just played guitar all the time. And I built a pedal, at school. And that's kind of because Brian May had a pedal that he apparently built himself, but I found out he didn't. My whole reason why I built electronics was a lie. Brian May didn't make his own Dallas Rangemaster. So I don't know where I heard it from. He made his own guitar.
He made his guitar, yeah.
But, I built the pedal that, made Night of the Opera sound so, that album. And then it didn't sound anything like that. It sounded absolutely god awful. But it was magical. The feeling that you built something, it took about a month and a half to build it when it usually would take about an hour. Now it would take about an hour. It was magical, that sense. And now I've completely forgotten what the question was. Oh yeah, the Windows 95.
Yeah.
So Windows 95, that computer, I think what I used it for mainly was Lego Mindstorms. So they had an infrared, beacon that you connected into the parallel port at the back, I think it was. And then, it just speaks to the little Lego machine. You tell the Lego a very rudimentary, kid-friendly version, late 90s of what to make, of programming. So I wasn't really into music at that point. I probably didn't really do musical things until, guitars, until I realized that at college that you could make music on a computer. And then I was doing computer production for a few years, and I can't remember why. I just found myself doing more circuit bending, and then I found a broken Korg MS-10, which is a synthesizer, my first synthesizer on eBay, and played it, and just was wowed by the rawness and the sound of just being so simplistic was able to be so strong and fantastic that you didn't actually have to use any computer-aided things to sound real and like a band, but electronic. So like the Human League, which I've later found out because I didn't really know any electronic music at that time. I was just listening to metal, really.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
And what pop, Cascada's probably as far as I got. Bass Hunter. I dropped some plastic. I put it down.
Yeah. So you are now you're a YouTuber. I mean, you're a solo artist. Are you in a band as well at the moment, or doing your own thing?
No, I'm not in a band. I was in a band. I've been in and out of a few bands in my lifetime that just afforded me to be able to just sit and explore electronics, whilst the other people in the band were, well, the first band they were all just party animals, and I was just hiding in there. I just prefer to have my own company than anybody else's company. So I just hid and learned electronics, really. And then I started a band called Zebra, and I just it was my life for 2 or 3 years. Got dropped. Rest of the musicians left, and I was like, okay, fine, I'll be a solo artist. And then I didn't know what to name it, and I had a zine called Look Mum No Computer, which was just a zine of what to I'll take that off, what I was, my hobby, which is this stuff. And I just did a silly video. I can't remember why. Which one was the first video? Oh yeah, it was on a Game Boy, triple Game Boy oscillator machine, and people had just got traction on Facebook, and I was like, okay. And it just had a logo of the zine called Look Mum No Computer, so I decided to call it that.
And a channel was born, and that's how it happened. Yeah. And you also, I understand, you also write for other people. Is that something you still do, or are you too busy to do that at the moment?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's luckily enough. I mean, I do it like it's a regular thing. It's just not super often. It used to be quite often that I did it. I probably did it once or twice a week. Now I probably do it. Well, it's very difficult to do it now in lockdown times. Try to do remote sessions. That's next to impossible. Like, there's no vibe to be able to write a song. There's no creative bounce back, and it's been very difficult to write songs. But yeah, no, I write songs for with other artists, and I'm not doing it as much now, probably like once a month, but it's enough to every so often you get some sort of advert or something come along, and then that's a little bit of funding towards popped into a project or something.
Yeah. So from all the things you do, it sounds like, correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like your priority, and I guess what you consider to be your job, is the YouTube channel first and foremost, is it now?
I don't know.
You don't know?
Really
okay.
I just I wake up and just do what needs to be done. I have a to-do list as long as this, and then I don't know what the priority would be. Just to be creative and make sure that it's sustainable. And the YouTube is definitely an aspect to that, and it's a big aspect to that, a massive aspect. So it probably is, yeah, I guess so. The music and the YouTube, and then it's like a triangle. I try to do as many things as I can. I don't know.
It's all part of a greater whole called Look Mum No Computer, and YouTube.
I guess
is part
so.
of
Yeah.
Yeah. And ordinarily, I mean, because of where we are today, what's going on, you explained to me before we started that you're in a bunker in the bottom of your garden. But
well, funnily enough, like that I rent this flat, and we went to find the cheapest flat that we could in the area, and this was the one. And before this lockdown stuff, this was full of rubbish.
Okay.
So I just offered to empty it as long as I could use the space. And like, this is literally what I've got at the minute. Like, literally put a door on it, and this is it. I had to move out of my other place during lockdown. I wasn't able to go to there really much because it was a shared space, and other people they were like it's a car garage, so it's in a car garage, and the car garage still operates, so I couldn't really go there. So it was a bit of an annoying thing, and I had to move out at the time, so I moved out, and I've got another place which is down the road, but I'm still getting it ready.
Okay.
What was the question? Yeah, a garden. Bunker. Yes, this bunker. It's just it does what it needs to do for right now, which is
it's a good look. It works. Channel. Is it just you there, or do you have anyone helping you out?
Most of the time it's just me. Every so often I have a mate who is in there as well. He's He does videos and stuff for adverts and stuff. He does, but we work together here and there. His name's Johnny, and he's in a duo called Youth Hymns. We met by them doing music videos for Zebra, the band Zebra. We did a load of retro-esque VHS YouTube videos, music videos, and then he helps every so often, like on tour and stuff. But most of the time, it's me and a tripod.
So what we're seeing truly is you. What we're seeing is what we get when we're watching you. Then there's no horde of writers behind the scenes or anything like that. No such luxury.
Yeah. I don't know about you, but I found an experience that working as a team is a very slow process. Especially, I like to, if I get an idea, I'll usually the video I mentioned. I didn't sleep last night because I came up with an idea yesterday, and I wanted to do it for this weekend. So I have to work. If you're in a team, then you've got to worry about everybody else. It automatically gets slower. And it's something that I wanted to get away from. So the only way I can work quickly and turn corners strategically quickly is to try and do it all myself.
Yeah. And you mentioned when you were younger that you sort of started teaching yourself electronics. So are you completely self-taught, or have you had any training at all on the electronic side of things?
Yeah, self-taught on the electronic side. I did chemistry university and decided no, and went and tried to do creative music technology, and then realized that why would you go to university to study creative music technology? It's not really a sort of thing that you're gonna. Yeah, I didn't understand why you would do that, so I quickly got out of that and decided the only way I'm going to learn is by experience and jumping into the industry and the field, which is what I did in my early 20s by getting into songwriting, music production and stuff like that, and managed to make a living out of it for a while.
Yeah. And then let's turn our attention then to the YouTube channel then. You mentioned the first video, the Game Boy Oscillator. You started in 2016 and you've now got over 300,000 subscribers. Must feel good.
Yeah, it's good.
And your biggest video, I believe, is the Furby organ video with over 5 million views. It's a huge video.
However, this is a funny thing, is because it's not the most viewed one, because on Facebook, which is where I started, the Flamethrower organ got 15 million, which is mad.
That's crazy.
It only got 20,000 on YouTube. So you just never know which format. It always depends which format. Some videos do well on one format and they do absolutely awful. But the Furby organ kind of did well on both Facebook and YouTube, which is good. I'm very happy with that, and it really, really helped with the YouTube channel, the Furby organ.
Yeah. And you kicked off with, you mentioned the Game Boy one, and then just talk to us about those early days then, because, it takes a while for your channel to settle in, or normally it does, for you to think, is this going to be a success or not? Is this worth my time? Was it just a vertical route to success for you, or was it a bit of a roller coaster? Just talk us through the early days.
It's always a roller coaster, isn't it, really? I don't know whether it's ever really cut and dry. I usually have my outlook on these sort of things is just to keep on going, but you never know, because you always get down about things and the fluctuations of certain aspects to these kind of jobs and stuff. And it was never really at the start. It was pretty difficult trying to juggle all of this stuff and all of the other stuff and work and whatnot and stuff like that. And it was very strange, and it's been just a slow burner, really, just building up and gradually progressing to something a bit more sustainable. But you never know what. Who knows?
Yeah. There's definitely sacrifices have to be made in those early days. If a channel looks like it's going somewhere, like you say, you can't give up your day job. There's definitely sacrifices to be made. To get there.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, there are for me, there is sacrifices. It's just more. They're not sacrifices anymore. They're just life.
It's just
that's the whole thing about it. Think about it. Funnily enough, I've got this project that I'm trying to finish for Sunday. I don't know where it's gone. Power Glove, yeah. So I'm going to make Power Glove play music, and then get a robotic hand to play the Power Glove.
Nice. You were giving us the bird there.
Yeah, but then the problem is I printed the wrong hand. This is a left hand. That's the right hand.
Oh no!
So I've been rushing to make another one.
So you've 3D printed that?
Yeah, it's taken forever.
I bet. How many hours does that take to print then on your set?
This is taken. They take about a week each of just constant printing. I guess I had to put in I had it next to the bedroom, but my girlfriend was not too happy with the constant.
So just tell us quickly, what's the 3D printer that you've got there? Because I know people will be interested.
It is. It's very good, actually. It's much better, like the Lulzbot Mini. I rate Lulzbot because they're a little bit more expensive than a lot of the Chinese ones and stuff like that. You get really quick, like cheap, but the cheap ones just. I've seen people use them and the failure rates are just like way outweigh it. You may as well just get a decent one because it's just you don't need to calibrate it. It just works. I haven't had to do anything, and I can bypass a load of steps on things like this because it's going to be able to print well.
Yeah, awesome. So as a musician, I'm sure you've got plenty of thoughts on I guess the value of creativity when we're just on the subject of YouTube. Do you think YouTube rewards creators like you? Is it fair, do you think, what you get out for what you put in?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think it's about trying to get lots of different pockets of trying to find the funding. Being self-employed is trying to find the funding the money wherever you can. So it's like it's one avenue part of the video thing, and I really don't know the percentages to be able to judge. It's pretty good that you get any money regardless. It's not massive. It's not a very large part for me, but I can imagine if you get like 7 or 8 million views a month, you probably end up, what is it? It's like £1,000 or £2,000 per million view or something.
Right. Okay.
Ish,
yeah, about that.
And it varies quite largely. I don't really know. It depends. And there's people. Isn't there a central bank break now where you can put an advert in the middle of your video or something like that?
Yeah.
I don't really know.
Well, it's clearly not that important to you then. If it sounds like you've got your risk spread across lots of different revenue streams then, rather than just being entirely dependent on YouTube. So life. Transport Tycoon taught me a lot. That's all I'm saying. It's like when I was a kid, I played Transport Tycoon all day, every day, and it was just about working out the risks. And try not just trusting on one thing and working out every single bit to make it work. I don't know. Do you know what I mean, though? I can totally relate to that. Yes, I put thousands of hours into Transport Tycoon and SimCity and games like that, managing all your pots and your budget. Yeah.
If you want to be a self-employed person, you've got to play Transport Tycoon at least 180 hours.
Perfect.
More.
So onto the inventions then, the flame-throwing synths and the musical instruments based on bicycles. We've got various questions from some of my patrons peppered through here. So the first one's from Mark, and he says, given how unique some of your projects are, who or what inspires you creatively with the inception and the development of your designs? Where do these ideas come from?
That's tough. They always vary. Some of them happen by conversations in a pub. Some of them happen when you're just walking around or in the shower. Epiphany shower is the best. It's very strange. Like, that is a big question: is where are ideas conceived? Where do they come from?
Sometimes it's best not to think too hard about it, is it? Just let them wash over you. Let the ideas come.
Yeah. What is it? Lady inspiration. You've got to be open to lady inspiration, or she won't bother dropping, farting the cloud of creativity onto your nose or something. It's very strange. I don't know where it.
Do you get lots of requests from viewers though with ideas and suggestions?
Yeah, that's a good point. I do get quite a few messages and emails about you should do this, you should do that, and sometimes they're all right. Sometimes they're really good, and I act on them quite quickly. Like behind me is another project that somebody messaged me a couple of days ago about. I was like, oh, that's a really good idea. Got to do it now. The fart box was a tweet from a guy called Cursor. He said, make a Firebox. And deadmau5, Circuit Bender Bible. There's a few ideas that are suggestions, and then there's a few that are just they just turn up somehow.
Yeah. I mean, it's so cool that you're on the radar of someone like deadmau5, you know, superstar musician, and you're interacting with him. And you mentioned there that you did circuit bending on an electronic Bible. Circuit bending is a term that comes up a lot on your channel. So just explain to us what you're doing when you say you're circuit bending something.
Okay. So what you do, you take something apart, and preferably not mains voltage, and then you make connections between parts in a circuit that aren't necessarily supposed to be there. So in essence, you're bending a circuit. So you're bending a circuit to make it do something that it's not necessarily made to do, and it's very close to hacking, like hardware hacking. But hardware hacking, usually you tend to build on something instead of bend it to be it's a lot more of a strange way of doing it.
Well, if you'll allow me, I'll just put in a clip at this point of the Bible in action. Is that okay?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Beautiful. So there we go. This little white thing is going to connect quite nicely onto this, like so. Awesome! We've got ourselves a working Circuit Bend Bible. And then backwards.
In the beginning, God created the heaven. Who's not in the beginning?
Next question comes from Reese. He says, do you have any plans to do anything with the Atari ST in the near future? There definitely hasn't been enough Atari ST action on your channel, winky face.
Yeah, well, they're not going to like this because, I mean, actually, yeah, there was, there's a guy called Gwem. Can't remember his second name. He's made this tracker. Can't remember the tracker. It hasn't come to mind yet. But I've played on it quite a bit, and I was going to do a video, and then it didn't happen. I think because one of my main SD, well, it's miraculously stopped working. You know how that goes.
Yeah.
And then I just haven't got around to fixing it. And for Cubase, I got to be honest, I like the the Macintosh Classic version of Cubase. People will dispute that, but it is what it is.
Because on the face of it, you obviously favour the chunky tactile bits of hardware with big dials and switches that you can use and abuse all day long. So you do go back to using the laptops and the Macintosh that you mentioned there. Are you just as comfortable with a VST as you are with the hardware itself?
I struggle actually using VSTs and stuff. The problem with VSPs and especially VST synthesizers and stuff is they make things way too complicated way too quickly. When you try to get the essence of a sound, it's very hard to get a character with a simple thing. And the thing about using hardware is you're able to keep it extremely simple but sound good. It's like the definition of a good sounding thing on VST is something stupidly complicated, and it makes it very bland. So I I've tried it a lot recently. It just really isn't the same. And everybody's like, oh, it is the same, but it's not for me.
So in your collection then, I mean, classic synths are incredibly collectible. Do you have any special ones in your collection that might get some of the synth nerds excited?
Maybe, I don't know. It's very tough to say because I have a lot of synths that I've collected up over the years. Most of them are broken still. I only tend to buy broken things. It's yeah. Have you ever you look like the kind of guy who goes on eBay and clicks for parts?
Oh yes, all day.
You know what I mean. You go to Office Industrial. No, it's in computing now, isn't it?
Yeah. So vintage computers.
Yeah, and then parts not working.
Spares and repairs. Yeah. I mean, because that makes a more interesting video. Yeah.
And that does too, and stuff. And like, there are some gems on eBay, aren't there? Sometimes everybody's got those stories where you're like, oh man, how were you that lucky? Like, there was one that, it was in 2012, and I was in a place called Calabasas in California, in Los Angeles. We were recording an album. I know, it was really strange. I don't know how that happened. We were in this place, and I was on eBay, and I just typed in Game Boy job lot. First time I ever typed it in, something got a job lot of original Game Boy DMGs. I think there was about 100 of them. Got listed for buy it now. Just before about 10 minutes before I typed it in, for $15. Jeez. I didn't think about it. Buy it now. And I would have thought this is a scam. It's not turning up. 2 days later, from, I don't know, somewhere else in America, the whole box for $15 of 100 Game Boy DMGs.
Jeez.
And I had to buy a briefcase to get it home, obviously.
Some might call that fate. It was destined to be with you.
Definitely. I mean, yeah, I don't know how else to. It's very strange, isn't it?
Yeah. Do you have any other tips for people who are looking to buy stuff? You mentioned eBay, but are there any other places that you go to find stuff?
I mean, we're giving away the secrets now.
I know.
It's always about I think it's about nowadays, because everybody's, it's easy to get there, is being creative about what you do and what you're after. Like I email universities, asking whether they have the parts. I was lucky enough, the big green things that I have in the back, they're Brawl and Cure things. And I was very addicted to getting them for a large thing that I'm still working on. I've got about 40 of them now, and I've never spent more than, maybe £50 for each of them. And they're just, I just found them university job lots here and there. So it's just looking around and thinking outside of the box sometimes.
Yeah. So just try your luck and see what you can find.
Yeah.
And also there was a video just on the subject of synths where you went to Switzerland, and there was some kind of crazy synth museum that you went to visit. That was incredible.
That was mad. Yeah. I mean, it's there. Like, it was just, we were in Switzerland I was doing a gig and just trying to find what to do around there. And I think they emailed me maybe a year before actually, about it. And there isn't a massive amount of pictures at that time, so I didn't know what to expect. And then, it turned up and it was just a whole place full of old synths. And the story was that all of these synths were just sat in a damp warehouse stacked on top of each other. That the collector just, he bought a load, chucked them in there, and they're sitting there, and it's like they're getting renovated to be used and stuff. I get a lot of comments on that I mistreated the synthesizers and picked them up and plonked them down, but it's like, that's what synthesizers are. They're tools. They're nothing. They're to be like computers. They're not to be, cherished, yes, but ultimately to be used, they're tools.
Yeah. You've got to respect this old hardware, but part of that respect is actually picking them up and using them as they were intended to be, for sure. So all of these things, then the YouTube channel, the hardware hacking, the music, and without doubt, your personality clearly created the perfect storm, because not only did your channel explode, but in 2019 you were invited to give a TED talk, which is quite the honor, right?
Yeah, it was awesome.
You showed no signs of nerves up on the stage. How did you find it?
Trying to remember whether I was nervous or not.
It was only a year ago.
Yeah. I can't remember. Sometimes nerves gets to me. It's usually the nerves only really happen when there's only a handful of people.
Right.
A handful of people in a small situation, and you know these people. Maybe that's the nervous time. Every other time is if there's a big group of people, then it's just I don't tend to get that nervous, and I'm able to focus the concentration into a sort of straight stream. Like you're able to get a straight flow of vocalness. I don't know. I think I was full of beans.
Yeah. Well, it came across really well. Did any new opportunities come up off the back of that TED Talk? Did anyone approach you off of that? Because you must have got a lot of exposure from that.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly what was attributed to that exact thing, but maybe.
Maybe.
I can't remember. It was around the same time I was. Yeah, I don't know if there was anything directly attributed to it, but maybe I'm completely missing something. A lot of people have emailed about it and asked and said, "Good guy, it was nice to hear somebody talk about those kind of sensations and stuff."
Yeah.
Because they feel it too, so it was good.
Good.
I'm glad that people enjoyed it and took something away.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you certainly had a huge ball of momentum behind you because you're here now with your 300,000 plus subscribers. You're touring the world under normal conditions. You would be. So where do you want the future to take you now with this momentum and with this audience behind you? Because, surely the world's your oyster now, Sam. What are you going to do with all this power?
Oh, it's a lot of responsibility, right? I don't know. I just kind of want to keep on building things. That's really what I want to do. I just want to at the start of this, I was trying to focus on how can I be left alone for the maximum amount of time to make whatever the heck I want. That's sort of the goal with this thing, is just being able to create things and being able to just be left alone, and focus on things and just let your mind go, crazy, and be able to build things that you've always wanted to build and stuff, and then talking about them has aided that. Like YouTube has made it easy to get out of bed to say, right, today I can now justify building a silly machine and not just shutting the world out, which is an amazing feeling. Like for a recluse anyway. Well, I'm not really a recluse, but just for somebody who just, like hiding away and just getting on with it.
Yeah. No, I can completely relate. I've got a basement office studio here, which I call the cave. It's just me every day. Come in, do whatever I want, and absolutely love every minute of it. So,
it's amazing. So we're very, very fortunate to be able to have these opportunities. It's an amazing, just always got to watch behind my back, because you never know, it might go funky and I won't be able to build all the time. So I'm just trying to do it as much as I possibly can every waking hour.
Well, good luck to you, Sam, with the future. I have got one last question from viewer Gary, and I promise I haven't put him up to this. He says, I'm a big fan and I've been watching your channel for a long time. You may or may not know in the past we've had some absolutely banging raves in the cave here. If you're ever in the area, would you consider doing a set in the cave?
Yeah. Where is your area?
It's near Swindon, over Wiltshire way.
Swindon.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Where are you based? You're London way, aren't you?
No, Margate.
Oh, Margate.
It's near the
old computer museum there.
Computer museum, yeah.
Yeah.
I know those guys. Nice guys.
Yeah, they are.
You a video about that, didn't you?
Yeah, I did a visit there. Actually, I remember now. One of the volunteers mentioned you were in the area. I remember now. So I'll let you know if I'm over that way again. And likewise, if you're near Swindon, chuck your Commodore
if
Pet.
I can manage to. Isn't that the place with the crazy roundabout?
The magic roundabout, yeah.
Magic roundabout, yeah. I remember driving through that because we were playing at a swimming pool. It was in a swimming pool. We had a gig in a swimming pool place.
Okay.
Swindon swimming pool? Yeah, of course.
Good man.
Really well do if we're ever in Swindon.
Sam, it's been a pleasure chatting to you, sir. Thank you very much for your time today.
Oh, well, thank you very much.
If you enjoy my content and would like to support The Cave while receiving a completely ad-free experience and access to releases 1 week before they go public, then visit patreon.com/retromancave and join the official Cave Dwellers. Thank you for your support.